Hello everyone and welcome back to part two of our SummerSlam weekend. As by ever, we're joined by Tim. Hi Tim, how you doing, mate?
I am very well, Lee. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. We're now reviewing night two, but if you want to see what we felt about night one, the link is in the description below, so go and check it out. So Tim, we'll go to the beginning where we started off with the women's triple threat match. And what a triple threat match that was.
These three women deserve all the plaudits they can get. Like, again, it was like WrestleMania with the, if you were going to open a big show, this is the match you open with. This is the way in which you start an event. All three women were fantastic. A big special mention to Naomi's dad, who played her down.
Because of that was happening, I assumed, right, Naomi's losing here. They gave her a special moment. She's got her dad playing her down. That's it. She's losing the belt. So that really lured me into a full sense of security even before the match began.
Yeah, and do you know what? She got so much offense at the beginning of the match. I'm with you. I was like, well, she's going to lose. They've given her everything. She's had so much. And it didn't work out like that.
Yeah, EO in the middle, again, why she is the genius of the sky. Like, some of her outside ring work off the ropes and her flying is just fantastic. I still love the playing off the story of Rhea. EO is Rhea's kryptonite. She's Supergirl, but cannot beat EO, and that played out throughout the match. That was really good.
I'm with you. And I don't think there is any criticisms here. There was a few slightly sloppy moments at the beginning, but after that moment, they moved on and they did really well. The chemistry that EO and Rhea have got is fantastic. The story they tell that Rhea cannot beat EO. And if I was them, I'd book this for a long time. I'd give this another year where Rhea just cannot beat EO for the title. I think that's where you go. That's a really good story. I am worried because Naomi now needs to go past these two. She's got Stephanie Vaquer at Clash in Paris. What are we going to do with these two? Because they need something. If you let them off the boil at all, I think you're going to lose some of the forward momentum. So what do you do with them?
I think they might use them in Paris for like another #1 contender match. Rhea will win that in Paris, and I think they're going to have a Naomi Rhea in Australia, and that's why Naomi won by putting Rhea's attire. I know, again, that's to keep Rhea strong, but I also think that's going to play into a big title match in Australia, and then Rhea's going to win the belt in Australia.
I don't think so. I think Stephanie Vaquer beats Naomi for the belt.
What, in Paris?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
I think if you give Rhea a good story, you can get away with that. I think you give her a match, like a marquee match, somebody that you want to get something out of. I don't think she needs to fight for the title yet. As I said, she needs to be given something. And I think the same goes for EO Sky. Give her something, give her a story. Someone suggested to me about putting them as a tag team and going after the tag team belts. I don't think that's a bad idea, but I'm not ready for that story yet. The finish was solid. There was lots of callbacks to the WrestleMania matches. There was lots of little things. I think some people are going to forget this point, that Naomi deserves these flowers. She's worked so hard. Her character work needed some sort of recognition, and to have beaten, and they do mention it in the commentary, these two are probably the best two women wrestlers in the company at the moment. So for her to get that win over them was important for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I like the fact that she knew she'd done a sneaky move. She got out of the ring quick, celebrated on the aisle. She didn't hand about in the ring. She knew what she'd done was a sneak attack in a way, and that just helps with her character. So, yeah, really solid. And then that led into
the TLC match, or what I prefer to call Car Crash TV, because that was exactly what it was.
For a casual fan, it was a casual fan's wet dream. It had everything. It was crazy. Didn't matter. There weren't much of a story being told. Spots galore. Even like, you know what I'm like with names, I'm going to forget people, but the Spider-Man hanging off the belt. people going through ladders, tables. You was correct in your predictions. You said the rest of the White Six were going to interfere throughout, and they did. One little thing that felt a bit strange is I think it was Wade called Uncle Howdy Bo Dallas. It was like Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, like it was a slip of the tongue. And I thought, yeah, that brought him out of character for a second. But do you think White Six deserved to win?
I think White Six winning was the right idea. They worked really well. I'm going to say I couldn't find anybody in that match that was hanging on. I'm with you. I love the Tommaso Ciampa flip upside down. That was a unique thing. That's taken a lot of core strength there, by the way, to be able to hang upside down like 20 feet in the air with no...
And it was close to a minute, weren't it?
Yeah, he did such a good job. So many tables gone through, so many different moves. For me, it's the Spanish fly from the top rope through the two tables. I looked at it and thought, this is going to be really painful, and it looked horrific. I want a big special thank you to Fraction, because their frenetic speed meant you had to keep watching whatever they were doing, because they were just pinning up and down, up and down. I think that really helped with it.
And going back to, like, obviously we've had Unreal this last week and stuff, and that really surprised me with how produced matches are now, because it's literally step by step, where I thought, like in the old days, they would have 4 or 5 spots they had to hit, and then the wrestlers made up the middle bits. We've seen how well WWE did with the camera work and all that stuff. Do you think that match was properly produced, move by move, spot by spot?
And if I go back to the Macho Man Steamboat match of WrestleMania 3, where they wrestled through the match move by move by move, that to me is a proper produced match. This was a spot fest. I don't think you can do anything other than say, right, we're going to do this spot here, we're going to do this spot here, we're going to do this spot here, we're going to do this spot here. If you try and structure a match like that, you're working with an inanimate object that will do its own thing when it wants to. Think about the amount of times that ladders are broken, tables have smashed, chairs haven't impacted the way in which people want them to. I think all you can do is just have these spots and then do the little nuances around it to get somewhere.
I think WWE production kept up with every spot, and we got every spot that we needed to see. So, yeah, like I said, for a casual fan, it was fantastic.
It's the little Dudleys and Hardys being there. I thought that was a clever little twist. And again, it's showing that relationship between TNA and WWE will benefit at some point, because people are just going to go, I remember that. I'm going to watch that in October.
Exactly. And seeing that sort of annoyed me about AEW, because would have loved Edge and Christian to be there as well, just to have the 3. But obviously, that's not going to happen for a long while. But it was nice to get the nuance of the importance of a TLC. I'm
with you 100%. As I said, so many good spots. Another couple more spots I will mention is Candice LeRae spot with the ladder, where the ladder actually broke in half. Whether that was meant to break like it did, or whether it actually broke, there was a lot of people checking on her. So I'm hoping she's all right, because that looked like a horrific bump.
Yeah, that's going to be a very awkward dinner conversation if she's sitting there with broken ribs or something, because obviously her husband put her through that ladder. But
yeah, and we also obviously had the big callback with the ladder, with the stacking of the ladders and DIY going through them like the Dudleys used to. So good callbacks, very enjoyable. It was, as we said it would be, car crash TV, but the kind of thing that you can not watch.
And do you think the placement was good for it?
I think they got the placement for night 2 bang on. I don't know whether they looked at it and thought, this doesn't feel right after night 1, or they thought, well, this is where we're going to go. Everything was in the right place as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, and talking about that led on to...
We had the no DQ match, and for me, this was the worse of the two street fight no DQ matches. We'll talk about the other one later on. It was solid, and both women did well. But for me, there was one big botch that kind of messed it up as far as I'm concerned. A clever moment when Becky zip-tied Lyra's hands together. Now, you knew they weren't zip-tied too tight because these women are going to need some sort of moment. But somehow Lyra gets into the belly-to-belly and gets Becky through that. And the botch, and I say this, I don't blame the women for this. I blame the cameraman because I think that it's bad camera plays. Lyra slips her hand out of the cuff to roll away, to then slip it back in, but it was in front of the camera. If you could have worked the cameras around better, I think you'd have had a much better experience.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said to you before as well, or if it'd come out like that, just get Becky to redo another zip tie. I like some of the spots they tried. I like the fire extinguisher under the ring. I thought that was quite clever. The actual zip tying itself, I thought was a cool idea. It weren't like the clunky handcuffs that you used to see in the old days. It was a practical item that you would expect to be under a ring.
I enjoyed Lyra's the moonsault that she does, and bearing in mind she's got she needs the arm to be able to get that leverage to spin over. She did really well, so I'm really pleased that she managed to do it. It's just the spot, and because it was bad camera work, it made me question on what we were going to do afterwards.
Yeah, and then obviously we had the Bailey interruption. You predicted this as well, but you predicted a Hill Bailey. They managed to keep Bailey face throughout the whole of this. Do you think that was the right move?
I don't know what we're doing with Bailey at this point. It was a mistake. She came out. I liked the story they originally told, and then we told a different story at the end with being punched in the face with the chain. I'm like, oh, are we going back to this? It does protect Lyra. Lyra will come out strong out of this, but I think Bailey's the one that will come out worse out of this.
Yeah, because the only thing that confused me, she was sort of being face and going after Becky, but after she'd done the punch, she then stood on the A-frame where if you'd accidentally done something, you would have jumped straight back in the ring.
We're going back to the Lyra Bailey feud, which is fine as long as we then move Becky into something because she needs something as well.
What about Becky moving on? We had a debut of a new theme song. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. If she's going to stay heel long term, it probably makes sense.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if it's with the device I was watching on. It was pretty hard to hear, but it didn't. I know some people online have complained about it, but I thought it was okay.
It did exactly what I was expecting it to. Was it like something that was amazing? No. Did it show a changing character? This should have probably happened months ago, if we're honest. I think what you'd have then done is some of the heat he could have drawn from that would have meant that Lyra could have got a bigger pop. That's my only concern.
Yeah, so overall, we're saying it was a decent match.
A decent match with significant issues that WWE need to sort out sooner rather than later if they're going to keep going.
Yeah, brilliant. And then after this match, that led on to...
We had the cage match, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan.
No, it was quite underwhelming.
For me, this match could have main evented SmackDown and I wouldn't have been too bothered. I'm not sure of its placement on the PLE.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very underwhelming. The big spot come after the match with Jacob's moonsault off the cage. That should happen during the match. Again, your prediction, Tonga would play a big part in this match happened. We had Big Jimmy Uso come out as well, sort of got a bit destroyed. It's just been the same old rubbish that we've been seeing lately with a cage stuck to the ring.
We could have, if you look into like I think you could have taken this match off the card, dropped the show down by half an hour. I think it would have felt a little less like overwhelming. I don't see the need to include this match so much. It was there. Is it going to be the blow-off match? I doubt it very much. And that's what worries me. Cage matches should be almost like a blow-off. Then had Eddie Guerrero special.
AJ and Dom, this was a good match. Obviously, AJ trolling with Guerrero's gear, the Cadillac. Even his son looked like a 2005 Dom with the bleached blonde hair. I thought this was a brilliant tribute to Eddie. And yeah, it made the match really fun.
It was the most amount of fun. This is what this feud's been about, right? This feud has been about having fun, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, if you think it's 20 years ago since we had the custody of Dominic ladder match, well, a strange stipulation at the best of times, but 20 years, I loved it. The ring gear was amazing. I saw AJ Styles come out in it, and I was like, whatever, this is brilliant. I loved it. I may have wanted AJ to win, and I thought he would win. I'm not bothered that Dominic did either.
Yeah, I just thought it was very clever. Like you said, the throwbacks, obviously, with the cheating chair shot. AJ jumped into that as well. And then, obviously, old Dom with the boot. Very clever, very smart.
It was winners everywhere, and a finish off on a frog splash. So I love it. I'm quite happy. It was a little bit short for me. I thought they could have got away with a couple more minutes. I think if you could have shaved a couple of minutes off the main event and given these guys a little bit more fun time. But overall, I'm not disappointed with it at all. My only surprise is with Raquel and Roxanne losing. I expected Dom to lose, and then tonight I would then have expected like the Judgment Day to have lost all their gold within like a 48-hour period.
Yeah, no, very true. That would have been an interesting line, but we'll see what they've got in store for Finn and JD tonight and more. It's obviously led on to the big one, the main event. Now, going by what we spoke about yesterday, I looked at the time and there was still like 52 minutes left. And I thought to myself, oh dear, we're going to have 20 minutes of mayhem shenanigans at the end. Obviously, this weren't the case. But before we get to the ending, what did you think of the entrances?
All right, so my first issue is I'm not a big fan of Cody's big head that he comes out in. That's just me. I might not like it. I imagine there are lots of people that think it's great. I know it's part of his character. I understand that. He came out to a pop, which for me is important because there were lots of times, and I'll get onto that in a minute. He came out to a pop, so people were still pleased with him. So that's a really good sign.
Also, what did you think about having Dusty's words come up across and Dusty's voice playing out in the arena before the music hit? Do you think that helped with the pop, and do you think that was a nice touch?
I think that's a really subtle touch. He's always calling back to his dad. It's the important part of who he is. I think we mustn't forget that he is Dusty's son, and Cody doesn't want us to forget that. So the subtleties that we have with the little words that come out across the screen, they give you that nostalgia feel immediately.
And I also think that sort of helped make it feel like a bigger event, because that's sort of something they would do at WrestleMania. So to put it on here, I think it helped to make that build, because obviously this is the second night of SummerSlam, which has never happened before. So I think that really helped with the feeling of the big occasion.
Yeah, with you. This felt like a big match. It felt like, for want of a better word, it felt like a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, and then moving on to John.
So I liked the fact that we everything went back. We went into the black writing of John Cena as his music came up, and we did it for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then boom, John Cena's everywhere, and he's bounding out, and he's coming out. And you know at that point, there's no way he's turning heel, like during this match. There is absolutely no way. He had a smile on his face all the way through. It felt like I was watching John Cena 10 years ago. He felt genuine. I think and it's just reminded me, this whole heel turn hasn't felt genuine. Whereas this entrance alone made you think, yeah, I'm in, give me it.
And what you saying a minute ago about the subtle things, even when he turned to Stu and said, I've missed you, Stu, have you got one more run in you? Little things like that made me feel, oh, right, he's definitely going soon, and he's definitely going to be missed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He was, and the belt was round the right way. He was doing the running, and he looked so happy. And I think whatever happened, like I had a bit of nostalgia. I was like that. Oh, there's part of me that wants John Cena to win now. I really want him to win. I think my biggest fear at the start of the match was, please don't let this be another WrestleMania match. Please do something.
Well, it certainly wasn't, because they started that match with high pace, and I thought, again, like, they're going to blow out even before they get to the end, because they can't keep this going. And the fact they did tone it down halfway through, but they done it subtly, and it all made sense. It all linked in well, like. And the reason why I think John was it felt like he was at his best. And I know what you were saying yesterday, the concerns that he can't go that much, because he's even said the reason why he's quitting is because he's getting old, his body can't handle it. But a bit like what we do for a profession, when we're on our last day, we know we've got our 6 weeks holiday, we're exhausted, we're knackered, but we know we've got our break coming up. I think John's going to be off TV now for at least a month. So I think he knew that in his head, so he just went and gave it 100% because he knows I can go to bed tonight and I ain't got to worry about this for another 4 weeks or whatever. So I think that's why we got a really good John Cena. Just some of those spots were fantastic. Like you said, felt like the clock had been around 10 years.
It was so much fun. What I will say is Cody bumped for him massively. A big kudos for Cody for just taking everything that John threw at him, like having things such as, I can't remember last time I saw John Cena do a code red. Seriously,
Exactly.
I know outside. When? And he smiled after it, and we were all going, yeah, bring it. Let's have more of this. The leg drop came out. I know there's been a lot of issues. I'd like to see the springboard stunner just once more. I know it's not a good move. It doesn't look good. But that nostalgia hit just once. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. It felt fun. The fights that took place outside the ring were well paced. It did feel Attitude-esque. But I don't think that was a bad thing. I think that's what we needed. It needed to feel like that. I got worried very early on when Cody was booed.
But again, it just proves how great storytellers both guys are, because by the end, he was getting the cheer. I liked that spot with the elevator under the ramp, and John showing his strength, because, like I said, he's nearly 50 years old, or he's 50 years old, and he's fireman carrying Cody down to the ring after fighting for the last 20 minutes, taking bump after bump, going up that elevator, doing the old AA, and then still having to pick him back up. I just thought, yeah, this was Super Cena, and it was great to see.
Yeah, I loved the elevator spot. I said to my partner, we were watching it, and I was like, they're probably sat there having a cup of tea, having a 5-minute breather. But to come straight out, and the visual with him on the line, with Cody on his shoulders almost like dead, it was there. It's also John smiling throughout. He looked like he was enjoying himself. And we've said multiple times, the more you enjoy doing something, the better you're going to be at it. So many good spots throughout. I mean, I have to say, throughout the whole of night 2, the amount of tables they must have gone through was unreal. They must have done four or so tables just in this match.
Yeah, and I liked the salute at the end. The only thing I didn't like, I don't know if it was the camera angle or how quick it was, I think they were trying to get that Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, I love you moment, and it didn't quite come off. because it was just pretty much that and then straight into the move. But I appreciate where they were coming from trying to do it. I just think it needed that little bit more time to sort of sink in that Cody was like really fighting with himself to sort of say goodbye.
For me, Cody's facial expressions throughout, he was a heel throughout most of the match. He was grizzled. He did almost everything he could. And then when he picks the belt up and he starts questioning, he's like, I need to do this. I need to win this, but I don't really want to do this. And the anguish that he has throughout his face, because he's got some of the best facial expressions in the business. He can sell you everything on his face. I, on the other hand, I didn't mind the salute. The salute was, thank you, John. Thank you. And after the match was won and the embrace at the end, the hug, that's emotion. That was, you could see Cody was ready to cry. You could see the emotion was there. And you could see it on John's face as well. And where I was really, I literally up until the last minute, I was like, they're going to turn Cody heel. I think it's a wrong idea. I know he's got booed at this point, but he's against Super Cena, like on Cena's last run. I want to see him be a face for a little bit longer. And it worked for me. I think we worked out a way in which we could get away with Cody being the heel during the match, but at the end being the right guy. And obviously at the end of the match, he then leaves John to take a standing ovation, which he deserves, by the way. He deserves everything after that match.
And then we got where it all went wrong, in my opinion. Music hits, and it's not The Rock, it's not Travis Scott, it's not even R-Truth. It's Brock blimmin' Lesnar, and I just don't understand it whatsoever.
Unless they're, and I don't want to get into the litigations of anything, unless everything that he was involved with is now been sorted out, I keep him off telly. I guess that something was coming because they've mentioned his name a few times on telly over the past couple of weeks, and it's made me go, we're not ignoring this. I've seen they've said that he was persona non grata. I'm like, we're making too much of a big deal out of this. Something's brewing. I didn't expect it to be like this. But, oh, God, I'm not looking forward to this.
I think even if things are cleared up, you keep him off TV now, because that's a serious allegation. And the fact that Vince paid off and the fact that the lawsuit's still going on, I think that's enough to sort of not say she's telling 100% truth, but to mention certain names. And other people, John Laurinaitis, has sort of been kept away from things. Brock's, there's no smoke without fire. So Brock's implicated in something, and in my opinion, something has happened. I know we don't want to fall into it, so I wouldn't even risk putting him back on TV, especially in 2025. I have seen, and obviously Triple H did say in the after show, the reason why Brock's back is because it's one of John's requests. I don't see John requesting someone now with the stuff that's been going on. So I think that's just a cover up to get the heat off of Triple H. I think this is just a move to try and bring eyes in, and I don't think it's going to bode well. I see Brock doing 1 or 2 appearances, then he's got to go, I think.
You're looking at 2 part-time stars having a main event match because Brock doesn't come back and like semi-main. He's got a main event it. Well, now he's quite clearly, this is probably Australia. I said to you, I don't think he's going to be in Paris. This is Australia. It's going to take that long with the amount, because John's got limited appearances. Unless they choose to extend him for a couple of dates, Brock doesn't do anything by half. I said this to my partner as we were watching it, as I was watching him come out, and I was like, okay, he's not a big wrestling fan. He's not like a lot of the other wrestlers, but he's very good at his job. He's not going to want to craft as much. What you need at this point is you'd want a Paul Heyman to help him through. And Paul Heyman is quite clearly stuck somewhere else. So you're going to have to rely on Brock to be able to try and go. If this was the plan, then turning Cena face now is the right idea. You can't do it later down the line. But this is going to be a one and done match. you're going to take somebody's name off the card.
Yeah, and I don't think now Brock's the right person to do that, but they've gone with it. That's what we've got to part with. So hopefully it's one and done. But overall, I think night 2 was much better than night 1. What was your standout match?
Originally, I would have said to you the TLC match, but I'm actually going to go with the Street Fight at the end. It did everything I needed it to do. If the WrestleMania match was here, and you and I both said it just didn't get anywhere near the levels, then SummerSlam was right at the top. It took it to the next level. It's almost what WrestleMania should have been about.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, like I said, I was a bit disappointed after night 1. Went majorly looking forward to going into night 2, but night 2, and I think take away the Brock return, and that was only like 2 minutes anyway. The way night 2 ended made me feel like actually this has been quite a decent SummerSlam. Yes, we had a little Seth shock, or not shock for some people, and then we had Cody and John put on a fantastic match. So left the whole pay-per-view thinking, yeah, this was okay. Thank you so much for your time. You've got one more bit to do. We need a Raw ambulance tomorrow, and then you'll get a couple of days off. I know it's been a long slug for us all, but thank you so much for this weekend, and I will see you next week.
Yeah, I will see you later, Lee. Take it easy.